And in my mind, in my head, this is where we all came from. The dreams we had, the love we shared, this is what we're waiting for. And in my mind, in my head, this is where we
Hello and welcome everyone to the latest episode of Deliverability.TV with myself, Anthony Mitchell, Florian Anthony, and
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I jumped the gun there. And our special guest, Mathias Ullrich. Is that correct? How I pronounce your name?
No. It's Ullrich, but it's a German name and usually a little bit more complicated for a non-German native speaker.
Ullrich.
Ullrich.
Okay.
This morning we spoke about that topic already.
We're not going to practice that whole day, are we?
That's fine. And I think, today's episode is just really an informal chat about, in fact, where we are with GDPR and how it has affected us in the last, by the time this video will be published, 90 days. So I know that you published a blog post for us, Mathias, and that was very well seen. And it'd be good to just continue the discussion today.
Yes, just in background. The people were really panicking a few months or let's say days or hours before GDPR went into effect, and after that it got calm. So no mail flood anymore. Is there actually cases already? Because I got last week an email. There's a new law. It's something. Like GDPR, and we wanted to inform you, and I was a bit late maybe, and it was
Did the apocalypse happen? And the answer is no. We are still all of us having a job, so we are still sending email. So what actually happened, and that was really, really predictable, start of 25th of May, there were the usual suspects complaining about the usual suspects. In that case, Max Schrems and his NGO, Not Your Damn Business, which actually is the name of his NGO. It's not your business that way. So Max Schrems, who already single-handedly brought down the safe harbor agreement between the European Union and the US, complained about the usual suspects, and I need to look on the other side of my monitor to not give you any false information. He complained towards Google, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook literally that early morning on the 25th of May, and that was predictable. I think these cases have an overall possible fines in the billions, because it's all about forced consent, the take it or leave it approach. If you are using Google, if you are using WhatsApp, that data processing you are consenting to your data being processed when you are using these services. And so this is something which actually was, at least I expected that this is going to happen, that the big names are going to get complained about, but there hasn't been any follow-up about these complaints, and I think that the authorities right now are more working on the real subject of what they need to do, and that is obviously providing guidance and consulting companies to adhere to GDPR, and that is what especially in the UK, I'm really impressed by the amount of information the ICO is pushing out to companies to give guidance on how to handle GDPR. This is really amazing. The German authorities are behind, which is funny, because normally the data protection authorities in Germany are really far beyond, as Florian mentioned in the first podcast or the first episode about GDPR. In Germany, we had literally GDPR in place, besides a few stuff regarding documentation, but ultimately the stuff we had in our old data protection law wasn't that different from what GDPR is now having. But the German authorities they are now trying to get on track with consulting companies, with consulting people.
I suppose it's good for the authorities to be able to lean on the GDPR ruling. Perhaps they have more weight to it if there's big repercussions. So that could be.
Yeah, I think that the CINO, the French authority, I think 2 weeks ago had a case of in regards of email, and they were actually saying that that this would be a case of like X million euros of fine if that these problems were occurring after the 25th of May. So they are trying to give their ruling a little bit more oomph, I say, just with the fines which are in GDPR. The whole double opt-in topic and lots of other topics which is actually in GDPR. And when it comes to double opt-in, I go every discussion that GDPR says double opt-in is a must-have. But obviously, there are still people out there who say like, nope, it doesn't say double opt-in.
Yeah. The question is actually, is anything happening? Because I was expecting that the people just take it really serious when there's the first decision by court that is really, really heavy. But actually the people were panicking before GDPR and now nothing happens. And the interesting case is that GDPR was not taking in place 25th of May 2018, but actually 2016, with just 2 years of time to adjust processes, which everybody ignored. And now they had they said, well, also from the government, well, we need some more time. It's 2 years were not enough, which is not true. They are enough, but nobody did anything. And now they said, now we need 1 more year. And let's see, I think we need to wait if there will really be a court decision. And if it is, then could be interesting again. But one question that's even more interesting for me, what's on the other side from your monitor?
On the other side of my monitor, it's
share screens.
My notes are there, and some of my references I need as for the. When I'm telling you about that NGO, I have this open here to give you the right names of the companies which are sued, because I don't have that on top of my head.
I thought there was a very intelligent person telling you things.
I do think that case law is going to be the next 1 or 2 years is going to be a companion of GDPR, that there are going to be court cases about is double opt-in really necessary or not, and this is probably going to be there are going to be decisions, there are going to be guidelines by different associations on the one side, by the authorities on the other side, and this whole, there are still, especially in the email industry, there are so many uncertainties where we just need to wait what courts are going to decide and where this is all going ultimately. And so every one of us could argue like for double opt-in or against double opt-in, but ultimately it's going to be the courts who are going to decide that.
Because this could be the cutscene. You're literally cutting wood. The questions would be, okay, after the rollout, what happened? So what I noticed is I received, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you actually receive a lot of kind of privacy update emails from your clients? I mean, you personally, as a consumer.
Yes.
How many did you receive? I just, putting it out there.
I didn't count.
You didn't?
No, I didn't, because I was seeing on my infrastructure that people are pushing out these mails like crazy.
Yes.
So I didn't even bother waiting to count how many. It was probably near hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And it was a fun time, because all of a sudden you're getting aware of, yeah, I used that service once, like
Yes.
10 years ago. It was really a fun
Yes,
experience.
and it was also good because they unsubscribed you without you need to do anything. They send an email like, well, if you still want to receive your email, you need to confirm. So
at least the ones who
done.
didn't just send out a privacy update email instead of a reconfirmation mail.
It's still a good reminder what you have signed up for. And I mean, I didn't get as many as survey emails at the moment, but close to. So too much, too many.
But I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Too many or
quite
too much? Too many.
tomato. Too many. Sorry.
Tomato.
But a lot. This thing is. So it's GDPR, but in general, I think it was like there was a lot of perhaps senders, let's say, wanting to address their whole database, even those that are perhaps inactive. So that caused quite a bit of problem, even on the infrastructure. And how do you do that? You roll out X amount of emails per hour over a longer period of time. But it would be interesting to see what research was done into that, and in fact, some stats behind it. What has the impact really been on email marketing? Now, GDPR is on many subjects, as you mentioned, Matthias. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if we had more insights.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually think that these whole reconfirmation campaigns probably did more damage to email marketing itself than it did good.
Yes.
Because I personally was oversaturated with these emails. I was really fed up with them, and that is a lot to be talked when I like data protection. I'm working in that area, and I used to work as a DPO in the past. So it's really hard to get me fed up on data protection stuff. And I was getting fed up. So I was ignoring these emails, and that was a really bad thing. And on the other hand,
in the end, they must do it. So there was no option. So I think everybody was aware that this is completely boring stuff. And some already had a subject line like, this is another GDPR information mail. But in the end, they were obligated, right? There was no option.
Yes, you are obligated to inform about the changes, and this comes back to what you said earlier, Florian. The law has been into effect since 2016.
Yes.
And we had a grace period of 2 years.
Because this could be the cutscene. You're literally cutting wood. About locking the door.
Yeah, started this camera.
I didn't bother. We've got a lot of equipment here, but it all went to pot when we spilled the coffee.
We still have some. Yeah, we still have some technical issues. I hope.
Yeah, that's fine. So I guess the last thing I noticed that next Tuesday, I believe it is, there's a webinar between 250OK and Smarter HQ. That it's a free webinar, and perhaps they have more insights into that as well. So that could be interesting. So I'll put a link into how to join that at the video. But yeah, it's been an interesting chat, Matthias. I want to have you on more often now. What's going on? Yeah. So when are you next free?
One final remark, which I actually need to make, because it's a topic which annoys the hell out of me. And it comes down to this wonderful number 2016, and it's about the Who Is directory, and how the lovely ICANN was able to ignore GDPR for literally these 2 years. And to be honest, an organization like ICANN need to be able to get into discussions like that even before GDPR was finally put into effect. I mean, there were probably thousands of lobbyists involved in the drafting of this law. Why wasn't ICANN? And now we have the problem that if I want to look up a client's domain because I want to know whatever, I get this redacted for privacy feedback, and that really sucks.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ramble about is that the Article 29 Working Group and now the European Data Protection Board actually put in a press release that they are talking for 15 years to ICANN about the problem with WHOIS and that it is not compliant with European data protection law.
Okay.
And now with the fines behind GDPR, actually registrars were starting to do these redactions of the WHOIS data, which is a violation of the contract between the registrar and ICANN.
Mm-hmm.
And ICANN was actually suing one of the registrars here in Germany in Bonn at the court, and the court dismissed the suit because they said this is actually totally in line with GDPR and previous data protection rules. So we are in a bit of a mess here with that topic, and what is really good in this case is that the European Data Protection Board actually is trying to help ICANN to figure that out. But this is a really major problem because it really hinders anti-abuse personnel to do their work to help protect people. But finally, we are getting a real discussion about the impact on a person, because I have no idea whom of the two of you owns Deliverability.TV, but
it's a joint venture.
I do.
Oh.
But the impact on you, on your personal identifiable information to be put out on the internet for everyone to read, your home address, your telephone number, your email address. This is something where people need to consider both sides, and publishing the whole WHOIS record of every domain owner in the world to the whole wide world is probably a bit too much.
Okay. So I don't want to invite to a Facebook party, but still people can visit me if they want. Have a good coffee.
Cool ahead. Yeah.
That's I guess I get your point. Yes.
Or have half a coffee because it gets spilled on the floor. Sorry. Thank you so much for them insights and giving us all that information. A lot actually to take in, so it's going to be fun editing it.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks a lot. But we definitely
I have a final question. What's the thing that annoys you most on topic email?
On the topic email?
Yes, in the field, whatever.
That's a good question. I have no straight answer to.
Oh.
If you had a gun to your head, I think that's the only way to answer that question. You know, not that we're going to knock on people's houses.
If you had a gun in your head?
A gun to your head.
Okay. I thought.
Oh, I thought
it's
you meant
a figure of
you had
speech.
a gun and needed to point it at anyone.
Yes.
Oh,
that
no.
was exactly what I was thinking. If you needed to point it to someone.
By the way, let's not
Who would
talk
you
too
shoot?
much more about guns. Because this could be the cutscene. You're literally cutting wood.
I think the most annoying thing is marketers who are not following best practices. And I could go deeper into what I really think, but my employer would not like that.
No, and that's an episode, and late night episode as well.
In the end, that's
You mean after a couple of drinks?
Yes. In the end, that's
Let's
our customers, because people following everything. Maybe
yes.
speaking too much with us. Okay, anyway, I like marketers that are not yet doing everything in the perfect way, because we are here to help and we like to do that. So maybe the same for you. So the annoying part is that they are not yet doing everything in the perfect way.
Yes.
That's what you wanted to tell. Okay, cool. I think we got it.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks again, Mathias, for joining us. I think it was a good debate, a few really good points, funny points there. Good to see you, Florian, again.
Yes.
I hope you clean up the coffee later.
We will. No
Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye-bye.
In my head, this is where we are. In my